Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from BidAmount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art, located in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is October 5th, 2018. And as always, we'll take a look back at last week's eBay auction results, see what's coming up next week, and we'll do the same on CATAWIKI. It's been a pretty busy week, and there were some good auctions. And also, the auctions in Hong Kong went off this past week, as you all know, and we had the catalogs, we previewed them. And next week, we'll be doing a video on them. The results were, in some areas, really good. In other areas, it was rather disappointing for many, and we'll get into the reasons why I think so. Anyway, the famous Yamanaka vase did quite well. It brought about roughly $20 million, and we'll go over the prices of that, and we'll take a look at some things that didn't get off the ground, and there were some pretty big lots. But I think a lot of that was overestimating and whatnot. But for now, we're going to take a look and see what happened on eBay this week. And it was a pretty good week all around. This was one of the things that we featured on the site. I just thought it was so darn pretty. I loved the stand. The stand was gnarly and wonderful, done in these sort of swirly, root forms, sort of like roux heads, and this very lovely silk panel with script of peacocks. It was quite attractive. I liked it a lot. I thought this was just elegant. And a lot of people did. Apparently, it brought $5,655. It was a very nice object. And this was from a seller we don't usually see in Pennsylvania. So I apparently got it out of an estate or something. And on the back side of it, there was a mirror, okay? I said maybe it was retrofitted to be a mirror. I'm not sure. But it's a beautiful thing. And obviously, the value was in the silk work on the other side. All right, and then there was this. This was a nice old Furba, and I thought this would do pretty well. These typically do. This is one with the masks on it, and looked to have very nice age to it. Good surface, looked legit to me. And somebody got a bargain, $67. The last one of these that came up, seems to me it brought around 600. So I think somebody did really well. And as I've said so many times, leave a bid. Leave a bid if you collect bronzes. All too often, people are assuming that somebody else will just pay more than they will, and they don't leave anything. And you should just leave a bid on things as you go along. All right, and then on to this. Chamberlain Antiques, Juice 1499 is the username, had a pretty big sale that closed out on Monday, did very well. And among the things that were in it was this very fine Japanese cloisonne jar with its lid by Namakawa Yatsuyuki. This was a very nice piece. It did have some pitting in it, which I think held the prices back, which can happen on these really fine wired cloisonne pieces. It had a few tiny pits here and there on the surface, and it's a frequent problem with these pieces. At any rate, it still did well. It brought $6,900, which isn't bad at all. And then we're going to move along over to his next thing. We're going to cover a couple of things that sold there. There was this. This was a stunning bronze, and it was the upper portion of the torso was silver. This was a really terrific example. It had a minor loss here on the object, but overall it was in very nice condition, and the bidders seemed to like it an awful lot too. It brought $10,100, which seems to me a very reasonable price for that. I don't think they overpaid by any stretch, and it was a very fine quality object. All right, and then on to this. This was the highest lot in sale, and it was a really attractive transitional period sleeve vase. Beautifully done, nice cobalt ground in it, and fortunately Josh does good photographs, so you could really get a good hard look at it. Lots of detail, good size, and it did well. It brought $32,099. But it was a very good looking pot. And everything else in his sale did quite well too, I must say. He had this. This was a Japanese Buddha scroll. Nice one. Nice old mount on it. Probably an 18th century scroll. Very fine quality. Attractive. You know, if you buy Japanese stuff, you know that this type of scroll, not that many years ago, would have brought $8,000 or $10,000. And this time around, it brought $1,914. All right. But it's a dandy scroll. You can get some. I've said so many times. You can get some really terrific Japanese examples for fairly reasonable expense these days. And if you're not sure what to collect, look at Japanese porcelains and bronzes and so forth. Your dollar will go a lot further, and it's a fascinating area. All right, and then on to this Chinese Maori Tankard. This seller had a number of pieces of Chinese Maori up. This was a nice one. I like the rounded pot form and the nice brown dressing on the rim and all that. And it went pretty reasonably, a perfectly decent price, $241. It was in great condition, and I don't think $240 was an overpayment for that at all. I think that was a very sweet buy, and that was from our hut. He's a seller over in the UK that we cover pretty often, fairly often here. And these were nice. These are not especially early. These lanterns typically were made after, well after, 1900 on up to the 1920s. But it was a nice looking pair. I actually have one almost identical to these that we use it's fitted for a lamp. We use it on our porch. But this is a nice thing, nice pair, and very well done, beautifully reticulated, and brought $1,225 for the pair. These are always fairly good size. These are, 12, 14 inches, 15 inches tall. All right. And this was another seller we're not used to seeing very often in Phoenix, Arizona. It looks like maybe by the background, it looks like they maybe have an antique shop or something, and they put some things up on eBay. All right. And then on to this. This was that very lovely 18th century grisaille and enamel decorated export, or they call these exports, sometimes they're domestic dish, but very well done and in beautiful condition. Not a lot of wear on this at all. Often the gilding on these is just worn away, but if you bother to go in close, you'll notice that all the gold and the hair is still present, because gold is the first thing to go on these because it's fired on at a lower temperature and it's very susceptible to wear and cleaning and whatnot. And but the work on this was beautifully done. Facial expressions were nice. This was a heck of an attractive plate, and it did pretty well. It brought $1,584, and this was from one Stuns Reversal. And I don't know who they are. I've never seen them before. They don't have that many feedbacks. They're in Tyne over in the UK. So and they got other things. They have some other things up that end in the next few days, and we're going to have them in the newsletter this week. So check it out, okay? And then on to this orange enameled spittoon or cuspidor or jadao, whatever term you want to use. Nice looking one. Had a little chip up here in the rim, as you can see in the photos, a little wear here and there, but a nice looking pot. It also had a nick on the foot. But at any rate, it's a nice looking pot, nice decoration, very typical mid-19th century piece. And it went for $345, which isn't the world for one of these at all. Okay, nice looking thing. The photograph, unfortunately, just so you know, modern cameras have digital cameras typically have a fairly pronounced curve in the lens, and if you position the camera too close to the object, you get this sort of odd distortion of shape. The top is not so much bigger than the bottom in this, but if you shoot too close, that's what you get. You should hold the camera back at a better distance and use the zoom a little bit and move in that way. All right, but at any rate, minor quibble. Nice looking piece. And then on to this was that high-footed cup, little wine cup, with a nice inscription on it, Chin-Lung, marked and so forth, and it got a lot of attention. And it brought $5,110, okay? Excuse the noise. If you hear noise in this video, they are replacing the sidewalks outside of our office building and repaving, and there's all kinds of jackhammers going on and everything else. Crazy. But here we are. And there was this nice peacock feather hairpiece. We featured this last week. This was a good-looking thing. It did have some feathers down here missing, okay? You can see where they're not on the gold. But overall, this is a nice example, and I like the tassels hanging down made of little jade beads. And it brought just $521. This was a good buy, okay? This was a very good buy for someone. Came from a seller in San Francisco, all right? I thought this would bring more. I thought this would bring 1,000, maybe 1,500. All right, and then on to this silver filigree fan in its case. This is a great presentation. I like this. Silver filigree with lots of enamel, beautifully done all the way around. The decoration was good. Listen to that racket outside. My God. And I think they're just coming back from lunch. At any rate, and then there was this Chinese. Oh, what did that thing bring? It did well. Let's go back. I got just distracted. $3,550 for that, which is perfectly good price. That's a nice object with its case. Great presentation. It was a seller in Florida had that. And then on to this very nice strap-handled late 18th century Famille Rose teapot or coffee pot with a chocolate pot, whatever pot you want to call it. It varies from place to place. But anyway, it's in an export style, and but done with Chinese taste decoration, which made it sort of interesting, and even had a berry finial handle on it on the top, which you typically see only on export pieces. But this is very Chinese market right here, very Chinese taste. Here's another shot of it, okay? And this did fairly well. It didn't bring the world, but it was a nice buy. It's sort of an unusual one. Brought $716. All right, that was a nice looking pot. I liked it a lot. All right, and the Egmont Horn had that. Frankie over in the Netherlands, he gets good things. And then there was this nice planter, handsome looking planter, late 19th, early 20th century, somewhere in there with the blackbirds on it. Generally speaking, if you see these blackbirds on pieces, always think late 19th, early 20th century. It's sort of 9 times out of 10, that's where they were done. They did them a bit earlier in certain pieces in the 18th century, but generally speaking, all other things taken into account, always think of them as late 19th, early 20th century pots. This one had this sort of Y-shaped crack on the bottom, which is fairly typical of these. If you have one and you're hesitant to put water in it, you can always coat the bottom with a little bit of C7 or something and just use it. And it brought $622. It had no restoration. I think this was a very good buy. I don't think, even with the hairline in the bottom, still very usable. Okay, you can always put a tray into and drop a big plant in it. Enjoy it. All right, and then on to this nice Famille Rose hat stand with the openings all up and down, full of figures. It did have an old mark on the back, sort of an apocryphal 4-character Qianlong mark. It wasn't Qianlong, obviously. It's late 19th century. But nice quality, good decoration on this all the way around, archers and figures and different activities. And the collector, somebody out there seemed to like it a lot. It brought $1,409, okay? Nice looking thing. And then on to this. This was the Don Quixote plate. A very unusual type of export plate. They did in the late 18th century in particular. They got into putting onto plates stories and whatnot from English and European literature and found their way onto plates. And this was quite unusual. I liked this a lot. It had a little bit of wear to it here and there. You can see there's some chips in the rose enamels, which can happen. And it still brought $2,135. Okay? Nice looking plate though. All right, and then on to this. This is the last of the eBay things for the week. This was this nice guglet, 18th century, made around 1780, 85. And this is sort of a stock pattern. You see the same floral basket arrangement on chargers, platters, all kinds of table objects. This time they put it on a guglet. And here's the neck, and you have this nice honeycomb pattern around here. All very typical, all sort of stock export wear, and but nice quality. Oh, these are always in good quality. And it brought $531. All right, perfectly good results. And now we're going to pop over here to see what a few things brought over in CATAWIKI this week. And this was something we featured. These are a nice looking pair of 18th century cups. Like these with the birds on these sort of upwardly spraying out plants and these chevron devices running around the rim. And it was a pair. And look at this. The pair went for $128. You can't beat it. That was a good buy and very nicely done. All right. And then mosey over to this, a nice looking Wanli dish. It had a nick out of it and so forth. But this was a good one. Good deep bowl. You could get that fixed. And went for $180. All right, perfectly reasonable. They're getting more and more things over here, and they've been emailing me. We've been emailing back and forth, see where they're going, and I think you're going to see them trying to get more and more large pieces, vases, and that kind of thing on the site. Could be a good place to buy them. And then the last thing is they had was this Amari little teapot. Nice looking one, nice Chinese Amari, probably Kangxi, obviously, but a good form, sweet little pot. Okay, and it went for $175. Okay, that was a very nice buy. That wasn't a lot of money for that. Okay, And now on to what's coming up, ending in the next few days. This is one of my favorite things ending in the next few days. I have to say this. This is a terrific little carving of a figure carrying a double gourd, carved in some sort of red soapstone. But the facial expression on this figure is just fabulous, okay? And I mentioned this last week. I like this a lot. I think this is a great little carving. And look at this. It's only up to $50 as it ends on Sunday. All right. Egmont Horn has this. That's a nice little example if you like carvings. Really sweet, very satisfying. And then on to this. This is we just came across this. We were putting together the list for this week's newsletter page, and we came across this. This is a nice 18th century crackle or ghee type celadon bowl, okay? This is very pretty, okay? It looks like it might have a little issue over in here, but nice looking bowl. All right, we'll see how that does. That'll be in the newsletter this weekend. It's got 19 bids already. It's up to $303. Estate Consigner has this. It's a seller down in North Carolina. And also, we came across this morning. It's a really nice looking shelf. If you have objects and you don't know how to display them, you might want to buy this. This is a late 19th, early 20th century object, but beautifully carved, nice rich dark wood. I'm not sure what the wood is. Can't really tell from these pictures, but a nice looking stand. All right, really attractive. If you have small things, jades, cups, bowls, things like that, you might want to consider buying this. And it is braced. These holders are braced underneath. Each one of them is carrying a brace, so it could be a fairly nice size thing you could put in there. Okay, and right now it's up to $168. It ends on Sunday. Check that out. All right, and then you have these character marked Famille Rose, late 19th century, graduated large and a slightly smaller covered jar, and a couple of cups. Why they put them in as this, I don't know. They decided to sell them all together. I guess maybe because they match, who knows. But Digger Studio has this. It's up to $158, has a couple days to go. All right. And on to this robe, nice surcoat, a nice color palette. I like the colors. The color ground on this is very similar to what you see on. It's not Ming. It's a later Qing thing, but the ground colors and the way it's done is very much like some Ming robes you see around. As far as the feeling goes, late Ming, early Qing. But I like this. This is a nice piece, and it's up to $780 with a couple days to go. It ought to bring, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 anyway. But anything under that, leave a bid on it and buy it for yourself. All right. And then on to this little cup, curious little cup. The seller has this listed as Republican. I don't think it is. I think it's sort of middle Qing, but very good quality, beautiful quality cup. And I checked it. There was no calligraphy. I thought maybe there'd be some calligraphy on it because the price is getting right up there, $1,075 with 3 days to go. All right, but a nice looking thing. And we have this inscribed. This is a late 19th, early 20th century circular tile with an inscription on it. And you have all the different immortals floating on fish. This is mostly all immortals, I think. Here's one with a basket and so forth. And it is up to $1,225 with a couple of bids. I think it'll go a good bit beyond that. And a nice Lang Yao. This is a pretty good sized vase, 40 centimeters high, okay? Good sized vase, but well potted, nice shape, 19th century pot. Here's a picture of the bottom of it. I like the foot, I like the crackle. One of the things that you typically see on early pieces and not on the reproductions is that you see this nice tan crackle pattern on the bottom, and also this good looking foot, beautifully shaped, not a lot of spillover, but also there's not a lot of grinding evident where the glaze tripped over. They neatly clipped off a little bit where it went over the edge, but not a lot. But the color of this is very nice, really nice color, cherry red in some places. All right, and it's up to $230. Oh yeah, the neck has been repaired on it. You can actually see it right there. But if you're not a condition freak and you don't have $5,000 to spend on one of these, I suspect you'll be able to buy this fairly reasonably. But the shape of the body on it is really nice. Okay, and then on to this Peacock plate with a pink ground, Famille Rose, 18th century. Good-looking dish, also in good condition. Okay, there we go. Late 18th century. There you are. And it has a nick here. They're very careful to point out. And it's up to just $13, but it has 8 days to go. So I think it'll go up quite a bit after that. And then you have this reticulated cup. This is probably an early Qing one, but done like Wan Li. Okay, I'm not convinced it's Wan Li. Oh, well. Maybe Wan Li. I don't know. But at any rate, it's an early blue and white cup. Could even been done toward the transitional period. But you see these reticulated. Sometimes they're double and double walled with other things going on. And it's up to $665. All right, we'll see how it does. Oh, they have it listed as transitional. Yeah, probably right. And then moseying on to this pair of grisaille decorated export pots with the brown dressing. You see these also were made in the Kangxi period. It's a form that came into fashion, remained popular, and these were done probably later. Here they got them dated. Yeah, mid Qianlong. That's about right. All right, and they're up to $257. These are over on CATAWIKI, but very nice looking. Those are good looking pots. All right, and also on CATAWIKI is this side handle chocolate pot. Nice, unusual design, European market thing with the Chinese. It's probably Chinese, it's a Kangxi Chinese Maori decoration with the floral sprays and good use of negative space. All right, here's a back shot. There's a side shot of it. You can tell some of the enamel's chipped off. This happens on these pots sometimes. The sides of the handles chip away. Often they're just not that strong after firing, and that can happen. All right, and then last is this very nice Ming Tanchi period Japanese market but Chinese dish. I like this a lot with the pine trees and the top and bottom, and then this sort of scraggly branch coming out. Very much in the Japanese taste, but made in China. Okay, let's turn it around. There we go. Look at that. Here's the back of it. You see some kiln grit odds and ends on there, typical of Jiangxi late Wan Li period things, but nice looking. Nice looking. All right, and that's about it for the week. And as I mentioned, we're going to do we'll get the Sotheby's and the Bonhams results on a video next week. We'll go through the sales. It'll be a fairly long video, I think, because there was so much sold and so many good things too. And if you haven't subscribed to us yet over at BidAmount.com for the weekly newsletter, please do. It's free. Leave a comment on the forum. Leave a comment here. If there's something you'd like to see, let us know. We've gotten a few suggestions from people of things they want to see on here. Somebody asked about how you clean hairlines out of things using hydrogen peroxide. We might actually do a demo on that at some point. We'll take a piece that's got a nasty hairline in it and show you what happens. Give us a thumbs up, too, also on these videos. They help us a lot. I'm finding out more and more and more. Give us a thumbs up, and it also tells us that you like what we just did, and we'll do more of those. All right. Have a great weekend. It's a long weekend here. Everybody enjoy themselves, and I hope you find something out there you love this weekend. And stay well, stay in touch. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.